kick it off with a tell me something good. What good happened in your businesses last week? Alex, what do you got?
Hey, so as you know, I'm the big Bold Trail guy. Always keep in touch with your database. I had 2 inbound calls this week for new listings.
Wow.
Nice.
So
Inbound. Come list me type calls.
Yeah, Alex, come list my house. So you guys, if you stick with it, it works.
Was that from your YouTube newsletters, your YouTube videos?
Both of them are longtime clients.
Okay.
Who are in my database. They're in my smart influence, and they get weekly updates from me, and I make the phone calls to them every 2, 3, 6 months, whatever it is. And it's just constantly reminding people that you're out there, you're active as an agent, and you're the absolute expert. So it's very rewarding to have this call.
No magic silver bullet, just consistency.
Hard work and consistency. So
Wonderful. Congratulations, Alex. All right, who else has to tell me something? Darcy.
So I got a call from a client on Sunday. She's like, I received this place at Johnson. And I'm like, my mind was going blank. She said, we want me to sell her home. And I'm like, great. I set the appointment, and then I went to my database. I'm like, what is she? 14 years ago, we get a short sale.
No.
It took us 15 months to get that short sale. And 14 years later, she came back.
Oh,
She's been in my database, but
So if you're like everybody else, Alex and I, we need to follow up regularly. If you're like Darcy, we'll come back to you for 14 years. No? Yeah. Well, congratulations on that. All right. Anybody else have anything? Manu.
I have a listing in the Thomas that went on market last Friday. It's one of my neighbor. He actually knocked at my door and came to get a CMA and decided on point that he wants to list.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Well done,
awesome.
Manu. He knocked on your door. Reverse door knocking. In the class
Reverse
to
door
you.
knocking.
Yeah, that's awesome. Lindsay, did you have something?
I was just saying that your team has quite a bit going on this week. We've got one with Valerie, one with Bang, we have 4 going on with Haley right now. Like
We just
Go
randomly
Haley.
left to Montana. She's like, hey, I'm on my way to Montana. You do back Sunday. I'm like,
Yeah.
thanks for the heads up, Haley.
Yeah.
like every hour, they're just like, I'm gonna play it. I'm calling her. I'm like, where are you? I didn't even ask her where she was going. So, but one of them I was gonna share that we had one of the clients that Haley's been working with for a while. She was looking about this time last year. Decided she was gonna hold off for a little while, decided to jump back in, found a house that she liked, and rates for a full % less this year compared to where she was when she was looking last year. So, and we're seeing that a lot. A lot of people that have been on the fence for a while are jumping back in, so. it's a good
Nice.
vibe.
That's what I'm hearing right now is that this fall feels more like spring
it
than
does.
typically fall.
Nice.
So awesome. Good job, Lindsay. Somebody's got to work on the JJ Mac team, right? Just teasing JJ. We got it, sweetheart.
This week we closed on 2 listings that other agents couldn't get sold. So,
Oh, tell us the stories. I don't know.
well, there was one in, it's funny, he got the listing. No, the one in, Vallejo that was listed for like 8 months by someone else. He couldn't get it done. We closed on that this week.
Vallejo.
And
That's
then,
true.
yeah, and then the other one in Sacramento that was in escrow 3 times. We got it in escrow the first weekend on the market. Well, 3 times with someone else. First weekend on the market with us, got it sold this week. So, yeah.
Clearly, I was comfortable in that process. Yeah, it was all about that. All right, and then my tell me something good is we do have the newest member to the Made for More team, Miss Shannon Bassam. Bring Shannon around. She's been around for a long time. You may have seen her working with in other aspects of the industry, but now she is our closing manager. So it will be Shannon and Valerie now working together to make the magic happen. Still no Johnny, but it'll be Shannon and Valerie. All right. Before we move on, are there any other tell me something goods? Nick.
My first deal closed and is fully funded, and my second deal just went into contract.
Congratulations. Keep it going, man. Yeah. I don't know your name. I'm sorry.
I'm Ingrid. I
Ingrid.
just joined Wednesday.
Welcome.
It was crazy to try to find out where to go to do what. I got my listing up on Thursday.
Wow.
I went pending yesterday. We had one offer. That's definitely a contingent escrow, so I'm super excited about that. I had another listing go up today, so
Congratulations.
really excited to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you. Then I see Mr. Gove, did you raise your hand?
Yeah, I just say, I got to get back in from Miami 9:05 last night. Well, I've been to the convention. And I'm jacked up on get back in the business. It was an amazing, I've been to, 10 years now. And it was an amazing convention. It was 4,000 plus
Wow.
there, but the market's coming, you guys, waves coming. And so invest your time, your effort, you guys, and it's exciting. Agents are getting, got new people I'm surrounded by new people, but it was, you'll be hearing, I'm sure a lot about it, but I was so glad I went. Of course, I got to stay with Brent, and he says, come on, Dad, you can stay with me. And Kathy was down here for a wedding or something like that, so I said, okay, I'll stay with Brent. We're at the Ritz-Carlton on Miami Beach, and where's your room, Brent? He said, well, I got the executive suite on top of the hotel. So, we had meetings in there, and there were all people in there. It's crazy. But there's so much happening, you guys, when you hear what's going on. You're saying, wow, I'm in the right place at the right time. But let me just encourage you. This is the time to put in the time. It's been hard work for the last 3 years. I know it's harder to get listings and so forth. But now is the time, because it's going to be, people are getting in. And I got a couple of people with Lindsay, my grandson, that they're working to find some houses now. But anyway, just want to say that.
I love it. Thank you, Mr. Gove. By the way, you have a birthday coming up. What is it, your 40th in December?
Well, got my license 15 years ago in the state of California. One page offers went to 2 pages. Who knew? But so, and this is the second career for me. I was an insurance broker before then. But when I came up here, and Brett was 11, and then but I've seen so many changes. One thing I appreciate, I'm standing out. Didn't want to be starting this, but I've been coming for 10 years now, and I've got a lot of friends there, and people are nice to me because because of you guys and Brad. But it's a long story, but I was born in Idaho Falls in 1935, and so I went to a bathroom break, and I'm standing out there waiting for Clark Bruno. Come on now, okay, and I'm saying precinct. Clark's been in it for a while, and this guy walks up, and well, before he comes up, Tom Davis comes walking out, comes walking up to me, and big smile. And for the first time that, I've known Tom for 10 years, he gives me a hug, and he prays over me. Now, I know Tom's a Christian believer, but I'm saying he comes up and he grabs me and he prays for me. Wow, that's powerful. And then I'm standing there some more. This guy comes out from the back. He looks a little bit like Brent, about the same size. Over, and so we're chatting, and he's going on. And he said, "Well, where are you from?" He says, "Well," he said, "I'm from Idaho." I said, "Idaho." I said, "What city?" He says, "Idaho Falls." I said, "I was born in Idaho." So we start talking and so forth, and I got a good buddy there now in Idaho Falls. I've sent a picture where I was born. The house is still there, and
Wow.
I don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm just saying, I felt like today and most of the time you get your steps. You want your steps ordered by God. That's where you want your. That's what's happened to me, and I want that for you guys too, because this is a tough business. But I'm delighted that this last time I'm going to say I'm delighted that God has ordered my steps to here, and that my son Brent gets to rub shoulders with you guys. Really, it's such a blessing, and to see you guys have changed Brent. Trust me, Brent was not like this 20 years ago, 30 years ago. He's different. That doesn't mean he's perfect, but he's excited about life and he's excited that he's able to help you guys. Okay, you just need to plug in to this system and let me talk about that, okay? Well, I want to thank you all for your input to Brent. Thanks for Brent. And I'm doing okay. You know, my wife broke her pelvis 6 months ago. I've been kind of home being care provider for Carol. And I've been kind of out of contact with the same meetings. And want to be there with those people. It was like, and I get back in here, I see you guys, and I see how all of a sudden it's happening. And we're just people. So I'm just saying, it was a blessing to just be there and to do that.
Right.
And you're gonna hear some great thing, but I'm telling you, the wave's coming and you're part of it. And be grateful you're here in this office. Because there's not an office, I don't think, any place in this area here that can compare with this office and be part of it.
Agreed. Thank you. All right, so a couple things, as you guys have probably, do we have any upcoming events up there, Jose? Yeah. You want the, right. Yeah, actually, let's do this really quick. So Golden Touch Junk Removal. I never thought golden and junk would be in the same, praise, but these gentlemen, Darcy said they come highly recommended. Come on up here, guys. Tell us what it is you do. Give them a round of applause, everybody.
I'm excited to introduce these Del Oro boys. They have started their own business, and we have Sawyer and we have Luke. And they, I've known their family for a very long time, and I've known these boys for a very long time. They're wonderful, hardworking boys, and I highly recommend them. Actually, I should say young men now, because they're getting older. So I'll let them take it away on their presentation.
All right, well, I just want to thank you all for letting us come in. This is a really big opportunity for us. We're not really off the ground yet, so I'm hoping that you can help us and we can help you. But we're just Golden Touch Junk Removal. Delaware students, both 4.0 GPA, both competitive athletes. I play competitive soccer. I go all over the country for tournaments.
I also do lacrosse inside and outside school. I also do snowboarding competitions, racing, and slopestyle.
And we're just two friendly, responsible high school students looking to start a business, get some money, and we'll also help the community.
And not only will we be helping the community, but we'll also be hiring other high school students to help us get involved. And what do we offer? Golden Touch Junk Removal offers professional junk removal such as yard debris removal, post-construction cleanup, hoarding cleanups, and much more. We are going to focus on disposing, recycling, and donating to the local businesses.
How can we help? First of all, we can help you. You guys are real estate agents, landlords, help get property cleanouts before you guys show a house. You also might know some contractors that we can also help with just post renovation debris. Homeowners, downsizing, moving, spring cleaning, anything like that. And just businesses like office cleanouts, old equipment disposal.
Cost and pricing model. So our pricing model will be flat rates based on the truckload volume. Our minimum charge will be $99, and our truckload will be $600 if it's full. Extra fees will be hazardous materials, and then our areas of operation. If you're within 20 miles of downtown limits, then no extra fees. But if you are outside of that area, every mile will be 70 cents per mile. And then if you stick with us, your second booking was discounted at 20% off. So I suggest sticking with us.
Where to find us? We already have Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook set up. We will have a website coming soon. We're just not off the ground yet, but it will be done. We have
And then
Oh, there we go.
contact us.
That's what I thought.
Either our phone numbers up there, which will also be on the flyers. And then our email, Golden Touch Junk Removal, all lowercase, pretty easy to memorize. And remember, even junk deserves a golden touch.
All right, what questions do you have for these guys? Alex?
Hey, how many yards of material is in that truck?
Yards, like the
haven't had-
sizing
Yeah,
of the trailer. So we're still looking for one, but we're looking for like I think it's a 12x8.
Yeah.
12x14.
I have one.
You do?
Oh,
Okay.
For sale?
Yeah, we'd love to buy it off your.
It's not for sale.
You have trucks,
Yeah, for to tow.
to
Yes. we
haul,
do.
to tow, whatever.
Yes, we have trucks and I have Suburban, So we have truck and suburban that we can use to tow the,
But you don't have a trailer.
we do, that's where we're looking at findings.
We have one, it's not tall enough, we're gonna build some plywood walls around it,
Okay,
but we do have.
all right. I've got a wash machine for you to go pick up and take away.
Barry's leading by example.
Anything, boy?
All right, guys.
Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah,
Thank you guys for your time.
Okay, we go back to the woman.
All right, yeah, go back to school. Yeah, I got out of school just to do this, so thank you. All right, were you two able to connect?
I had some issues getting on the internet, but I am on it now. Do you want me to just?
You guys can still connect all movement. So Cabo coming up, Cabo 26. Make sure you go on brentgove.com. You can register there. I was telling Shannon about it today. If there's one event I go to, like not taking away from EXPCon, especially after Mr. Gove said how great it was. This is, I think, better than EXPCon. So Cabo26.com, register and will not want to miss it. And then I wanted to go over a couple of things. Have you guys heard about what's happening with Zillow recently? Zillow Pro.
Is it the FTC lawsuit?
Well,
No.
real quick, I'm gonna leave you guys hanging. I'm gonna leave you hanging. So that
Sorry.
Alex can tell us what he's gonna be talking about this Friday on his Bold Trail training. All right, give him a round of applause, everybody.
Hello. So, as you guys know, every Friday at 10 o'clock right here, we talk about Bold Trail. And we're in the middle of our, what I call Bold Trail Mastery, which is really focusing on converting and how to take your pipeline so that you can get inbound calls for listings from 14 years back. And so with that said, we're going to be focusing on that. I did have an agent take me up on my offer that I put out there last week. Agent didn't have a database. They'd had hundreds of closings, but never kept track of their database. I went in, researched past sales and put together a farm list. And I now have 300 contacts to upload into their Bold Trail. And so now they have an operable database, and we put together a plan so that they can execute on using Bold Trail daily to communicate with your database and generate leads. And that's really what I show you how to do. And if you think about it, that's the business that we're in. We're in the business of building relationships so that we're the absolute expert in our field so that we can get those phone calls coming in. And so with that said, this week I'm going to focus on smart campaigns and the templates and how we use those to foster those relationships. So 10 o'clock tomorrow right here, or you can join me on Zoom.
Show up in person, guys. Way better in person.
That's right.
All right. Thanks,
And,
Alec.
and I'll have fresh bread.
So there you go. Sourdough. You like sourdough? So what Alex was touching on was what I think is really important that we all just take a moment and just hear the power of what he said. Somebody had no database, then he was able to research that agent's 300 past closings in their career and create a database. That is not a random neighborhood. That is not some lead spot off Zillow or Facebook. These are people he's worked with, and now they can then call him and re-engage with. So that's incredible. And so, well, I was literally driving around my neighborhood. I live in a small little neighborhood. There's about 138 homes, and this one lady dominates the neighborhood, and it really pisses me off. You know, can you relate? You see somebody else's sign go up in your neighborhood, you're like, doggone it. But she's been dominating this neighborhood for probably like 20 years. So the parents know her, the kids know her, and that is really, I think, what we need to focus on moving forward. Necessarily don't need more leads. We need to engage with the people that already know us and that we know. And so what's happening with Zillow, the way to inoculate yourself against what's happening with Zillow is by doing that, by engaging with the people you already know. You don't need a bigger database. You need to engage with the people you already have. So for those of you who don't know what Zillow is doing, it's called Zillow Pro. It's rolling out at Unlock. So Unlock used to be FubCon, now it's Zillow Bot. So Zillow bought Follow Up Boss a few years ago. And when Zillow's been buying things for a number of years. Remember when they bought Showing Time? And then they also bought Dotloop, right? Which at that time was like the transaction management software. And then they bought Follow Up Boss. I believe the total payout is gonna be somewhere around $500 million. So they paid over nearly $500 million for Follow Up Boss. The reason why is because what they're doing, and they've announced this isn't like conspiracy theory. They are taking the contacts in Follow Up Boss. And so let's say Barry, you have Follow Up Boss, right?
For about an hour more.
Okay, so Barry has Follow Up Boss. Barry has put his clients in Follow Up Boss. Well, what Zillow is saying is, yes, those are Barry's clients as far as buying and selling a house goes, but if they have a Zillow account, they are also Zillow's. Which I mean, playing devil's advocate here, I can totally see where Zillow's coming from. It's like the person went on Zillow, created a profile and signed up. So Zillow in some instance has some control over that person. So what Zillow is doing is they're saying, if you pay for this program, we'll be able to show you all of their search activity, everything they're doing. There's gonna be all these great features. If you use Follow Up Boss, it will sync into Follow Up Boss. And
Oh, actually, I like that.
and we'll share that.
Yeah.
We'll share that with you on if you pay for Zillow Pro. The thing that agents don't like is, what if you don't have a Follow Up Boss? What if your contact is also like, what if Barry has somebody in his Follow Up Boss that's also my Follow Up Boss, right? Now things are kind of the water start getting a little gray. So the way to stand out and the way to win is to do exactly what Alex is suggesting, becoming the local digital mayor, following up regularly, making phone calls, we all get those templated emails, those drip emails from other vendors. We don't like them. We get the nasty spam calls from other companies. We don't like that. But if you show up as a human being, you take a little extra time, then that's the way to build that moat around your clients. So that way Zillow isn't able to, charge you for your own client. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I just want to give you that little market update. Is that helpful? I don't have all the answers. Zillow doesn't even know what they're going to charge. I keep bugging the Zillow reps trying to figure out what is this unlock, what are the details, but they're all tight-lipped until after unlock.
The Unlock is their conference.
Yeah, it used to be FubCon, like
Unlock,
Con. Yeah, it used to be
Where is Unlock at?
Vegas.
You know when?
November 3rd through 5th. Tickets are $1,000. That's all I got. All right, so we do have one more presenter, Marguerite Crispello. So John, you have to have this person after she's got some great information for you. So everybody, please, I don't even know your name. I forgot.
Erica Charlson.
Everybody, please give Erica a round of applause.
That reminds me to grab some business cards from my purse, so I'll just pass these around and you guys can all grab one. Great, they're in there. Thank you. Alrighty, so like you said, I'm Erica Charlson. We'll get into more about why that matters in a second. I'll let it go ahead and let you click there. Is anyone in here, in addition to working in real estate, a CPA or attorney? Great, let's skip this side. No, I'm just kidding. What's important on here is I cannot give legal advice nor accounting advice to you or your clients. I can give you some guidance, and then I will always remind you to talk to an attorney or a tax professional for legal and tax things. But we are going to talk a lot about taxes today as it applies to your clients. I can give real estate investing advice. Next slide, please. So, what are some of the challenges your investors are currently facing? So who in here has investor clients or would like to have investor clients? Show of hands. Great, almost everybody. So what are some of the challenges that they face? I gave a presentation yesterday in Sun City, Lincoln Hills, and I said, complete the sentence. If you can believe it, this one time my tenant, ... Someone said, flushed cement down the toilet. And I said, what, were they trying to just get rid of extra cement, or were they being vindictive about something? They're like, I don't know, but yeah, they were moving out. And I was like, oh, wow. So what have you guys heard? What are some stories you've heard from clients or your own real estate?
Very, 5 million.
So the best one I've heard was actually from Chris Aurora, who runs a property management company. And he said that they went to the house, they were evicting somebody, they left, they went to the house and they found that they had been in the house. Everything looked normal, everything looked great. But when we went to the back side of the house, the cedar siding had been taken off and burned in the fireplace as heat source. Yeah, so the whole back of the house was denuded and the front of the house looked normal.
New one for me. I'm adding
Yeah.
that to my story list.
We had a rental in like 11 o'clock at night, the Lakeland police called us, and they're like, have you been to a house recently? Already, this really nice family. Like, no, they've started a puppy mill. The whole house is full of puppies. And it was just absolutely, they chewed every baseboard, peed everywhere.
Peed
It was-
everywhere.
I mean, just puppies took over. And I guess neighbors eventually ended up calling, and so they had to come, and they wanted to like, you know, put the lockdown on the house while we cleaned it all up, because it was just like puppy unsanitation everywhere.
And I'll add
They,
that to
like,
my stories.
Give away the puppies at least at that point.
No, I think, they ended up, police took them to the puppies.
Okay, we all got it. We'll adopt it out.
Did it?
It wasn't here.
There was one more. Let's take one more.
I had one, so I had an investment property that I was selling, and it was the weekend before our open house is, and I get a call from my neighbor across the street. He was like the nosy neighbor, and he's like, SWAT is pulling 15 squatters out of a house down the street. They're walking down the street with long guns.
Oh my god.
And there had been, it was one of the, it was a nice neighborhood too, like you wouldn't have, I couldn't tell from the house from outside. But apparently, 15 people had taken over this property and had been squatting in it for 6 months. And the neighbor said they had never once seen the trash cans out. He's like, there's no way that house wasn't completely destroyed. And so the owner had been through the eviction process for many months trying to get these people out, and eventually police got involved because it was so many people, they couldn't just, they knew there was a lot of people in there, and so they SWAT came and removed a whole like group, 15 people at the house.
This is so funny. Every time I ask for like client stories, everyone ends up sharing what's happened in their own rentals because you guys own real estate as well. But thanks for sharing. I mean, this all probably sounds pretty normal, and hopefully you have great tenants and your clients have great tenants, but eventually it kind of can add up. Do you mind if I just like jump in and click when I'm ready to do that? Cool, thanks. So what's standing in your way of getting those listings? Any thoughts? Listings from people who own these rental properties, and
They can't find a suitable replacement property, or they don't want to stress out about being in contract and not having choices to go.
yeah. So he's talking about like 1031 exchanges, right, you guys? Is anyone in here really unfamiliar with 1031s? Great, that's what I wanted to see. But you know, if you have this 45
That was
day-
dishonest.
What's that?
That was dishonest.
That was
There are
dishonest.
definitely people in here that are.
Okay, I'm gonna give the two most important rules, right? Number one, you have 45 days from the close of escrow on the property that you guys are selling for them. The day you close escrow, day 0. 45 days later, just shy of a month and a half in most cases, you must identify a replacement property, or up to 3 or up to 200% of the relinquished value, blah, blah, blah. Important things, but less important right now. But you have 45 days to identify replacement property or properties and submit that to your qualified intermediary who you must work with. And then you have a total from close of escrow of 180 days, just about 6 months, to close on the new property. So what's your name?
Alex.
So what Alex is referencing is they're worried about not finding or closing on the replacement property, correct?
Correct.
You hear that fear all the time. What else might be standing in your way of getting a listing like that? So we are thinking about 1031s in this case. What else? What's the alternative to doing a 1031?
Just paying it out.
Paying the taxes, and who likes that? Not a lot of people. And option number 3, they keep the home till they die, right? You pay the taxes and cash out, you do a 1031 exchange, or you just keep the property forever. Now, if you helped sell that property to that client and now they've passed away, who gets that listing? Is it you or their kid's best friend who's a realtor? Or is it the guy's nephew? Or is it, you know, so-and-so who lives down the street and then always knocking on doors and knows the kids, the whole family, right? It's probably not you. So those are the 3 options, right? No one wants to pay taxes. That stands in your way of getting the listing. They're worried about finding a suitable replacement property in a 1031 exchange or being able to close on it on time. Or they're just like, you know what? I'm older. I know this property by now. Maybe they grew up in it and raised their family in it, and then they started renting it out when they downsized. They know the property, they don't want a 1031 exchange. They think, I'll just keep it. It's a hassle, but I got to keep it for my kids or else I have to pay those taxes, right? Who here knows about DSTs, Delaware Statutory Trusts? I love that. Only a handful of you. DSTs could be the solution to you unlocking that listing. So we're talking about going beyond just the standard 1031 exchange and helping your client understand the possibility to do a 1031 exchange, list with you, and find a suitable replacement property that is super easy to identify well within 45 days and close on also within that 45 days. You don't need anywhere near 180 days to close on something like this when they're available to you. So, Erica Charleston with Legacy Investments in Real Estate. And what we're going to cover today really quickly, because we talked about a lot of this, but what is a DST and the steps to expand your business using DSTs. So what is it?
An answer to prayer.
1031 exchanges can be pretty much any type of property. 1031 exchanges, almost any of these properties are eligible for a 1031 exchange, right? Other than a primary residence or a personal use, like a second home, vacation home that's not being rented out most of the time, those are all eligible for 1031 exchanges, right? Retail, multifamily, self-storage, even mineral rights, medical buildings, farms. You get farm customers, those can be great. They don't want to go into managing properties when they've been a farmer their whole life. But all of these types of properties can also exist within a DST, Delaware Statutory Trusts, right? And these DSTs are part of tax code, IRS ruling 2004-86. They were approved by the IRS or created within the IRS in 2004. You don't need to memorize that. Just know that when you're talking to people about them, they are tax code, not a loophole. They are also not a TIC, right? Tenants in common. Why that matters, your investors end up investing in those types of institutional quality, really large scale real estate at a portional, like fractional ownership. So $100 million DST property. Your client invests $1 million, they now own 1% of that Delaware Statutory Trust property. They are going to get 1% of rents and cash flow, 1% of appreciation of anything that property appreciates within the hold period, typically 4 to 7 up to 10 years. I'm going over this briefly because I know we don't have a ton of time, but it's also not a partnership. It is a real legal entity, the ones that are eligible for 1031 exchanges. You cannot exchange in or out of a company. It has to be real property for real property, right? Some of these companies might look familiar to you. For those of you who are newer in the space, they might not, but like Pasco, they've been doing National Real Estate Company since 1998. They've been doing multifamily since 98. Resource Royalty, they do mineral rights. This is just a small selection of all of the ones out there. Exchange Right, they do a lot of retail in Dollar General, Dollar Tree, Tractor Supply, things like that. Put together portfolios and do something called an UPREIT. We won't get into it today, but it's eligible for 1031 exchanges. They are professionally managed companies. So your clients, unlike a TIC, tenants in common, where everyone has a vote and a say and everything takes a long time to agree on. Can you imagine if everyone in this room had to agree on one singular lunch item today? How long would that take? A really long time. Imagine if 30 up to 35 people in a TIC had to decide on what to do with one piece of real estate, when to sell it, who to rent it to, what color to paint the interior and exterior, et cetera, et cetera. So these companies and others like them are sponsors. They put together the deals. They are the asset manager and the property managers, and they make all of the decisions on behalf of their investors. So your investors get to sit back, relax, and never lift a finger again. Last year, almost $6 billion, so $5.7 billion were invested into DSTs through 1031 exchanges. Well, probably just shy of that through 1031s because some people invest with cash, but about $5.7 billion of 1031 exchanges went into DSTs last year. Did anyone in this room have a client doing a 1031 exchange who invested in a DST last year? Awesome. You two are on top of it. So good for you. Most rooms I'm in, they what's that? DST is Delaware Statutory Trust. Delaware is just the state where these trusts are formed and created. They have favorable tax laws. Statutory just means legal or state. So it's the Delaware State Trust, but they're real physical real estate properties. This building could be held in the format of a Delaware Statutory Trust, and we probably never know it. So you have a property manager and all of the tenants pay rent to that property manager, and the property manager is either the sponsor or hired by the sponsor to manage the property. So that's essentially how they work.
Just be careful. There's another product called a delayed sales trust or deferred sales trust that is also referenced as a DST, and it's not the same thing at all.
Yeah. Yeah, about 50% of the time I will bring it up and then people end up getting confused with it. But no, I appreciate that because deferred sales trusts, that one is a loophole. It's not tax code the way that this one is. Proprietary product created for one very, very, very wealthy, investor or family office created this trust to fix their tax problem. But what it didn't do was make it available widely on the market for everybody. And people use that system all the time, and they're going to get audited, and it's kind of a hit or miss if they're gonna succeed. And they do pay taxes. It's just deferred sales trust. Delaware Statutory Trust, 1031 exchange. You are deferring your taxes, but you get to keep deferring them until you pass away, and your beneficiaries get a step up in basis. Step up in basis for your kids, whether it's property you own outright or in DST. Tax problem goes away. These are some of the headaches that maybe your tenants or you guys in this room are dealing with or have dealt with that DST solves. So tax problems, like we just talked about, diversification benefits, typically a minimum of $100,000 to go into a DST. Some of them have $50,000 minimum. If you're selling a home for $500,000 here in this area, that's up to 5 DSTs. They can be geographically diversified, asset class diversification, consistent income potential. You could go from your client having one tenant in one single family home into an apartment complex where they own 0.789% of that apartment complex, and they have 412 tenants. Now they get 0.789 or whatever percent I just said of 412 tenants paying rent, right? Reduce risk of a failed 1031 exchange, which Alex mentioned in the back. They get to identify a certain number of properties within that 45 days. If you guys can get both sides of the 1031 exchange deal, absolutely do it. If your client's like, yeah, I'm ready to sell this property and buy another one. I'm moving from Lincoln to Reno. Great. Help them find the agent in Reno to buy their new home. You sell their house here. Get the benefits on both sides of the sale. More often than not, we're talking to people, baby boomers, who own something like 58% of rental properties. Yeah, 58% of rentals, I believe it is, in the US are owned by boomers. Why is that important? A lot of baby boomers and the greatest generation don't want to do another 1031 exchange and figure out a new property, and they certainly don't want to pay taxes. So how do you talk to them? Why would you talk to them about selling their property anyway? They can easily identify DSTs, and it's an estate plan. So steps to expand your business with us. I'm going to breeze through it. These are the 4 steps. We help educate, unlike a lot of our competitors who just say, send me business and, if you do, great. But we are actually we have a dedicated resource hub. Here's one of them that I can email you. This is about talking to your clients about passive real estate and 1031 exchanges. There are conversation starters in here, scripts to follow, questions to ask them. I think that this is available on our website, but I also can email it out to all of you. Let's see. Well, here's another one. Some helpful steps to follow for a successful 1031 exchange, things like this. I'll get into a moment about co-branding this with us. DST University, the next one's on October 30th, and I'll have a QR code up here in a second that you can scan if you're interested. It's a week from today. Team or one-on-one sessions and a private LinkedIn group where you can ask everybody questions. Marketing, like I just said, those conversation starters and these helpful steps for 1031 exchange. You'll see on the back 2 photos, 2 sets of contact information. We can add your specific information in here when we talk about listing your property. List your property and call so-and-so at EXP and your contact info is right there. Other things like that. We sent out, we created these postcards and these agents sent them out to a bunch of people and we got them on a webinar where we presented to their investors about 1031s and DSTs. Wish you were here instead of dealing with tenant issues? Great, come to our webinar. Things like this, you know, we can customize them or use some of our already created materials and put your branding on them. And we also will host lunch and learns and webinars like I just mentioned. Then we collaborate with you and your clients. We can run a tax analysis, a cash flow analysis. Maybe they think, I have a 7% cash flow, I'm fine. Well, 7% on your rent divided by your property value, or your rent minus your insurance, minus your marketing whenever you have to list it again, minus your expenses for turnover, minus your vacancy costs, minus da, 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 da. Oh, you actually have a 1.2% cash flow. Wouldn't you like to sell a property with a 1.2% cash flow and get into something with 4 to 6% cash flow? So those illustrations, and then we estimate their tax deferral by doing an exchange. And then we'll do all the paperwork. We'll coordinate with all of the professionals needed to coordinate with, like the qualified intermediary for the exchange. We're going to monitor those 45 and 180-day deadlines. And we will actually maintain an ongoing relationship with that client so that you continue to look good. And then they want to list with you in the future because that was super easy for them, right? All right, questions?
What if they want out of the DST? They're not dead.
Yeah. If they want out of the DST, we're going to talk to them in advance, and they're not dead. Did you say? If they have not died and they want out of the DST, we are going to ask them questions about what they might need this cash for in the future. Why are they selling the real estate? Are they selling it because they need cash and they can't get a loan because they're 75 and living on a fixed income? Do they need, do they just want to get rid of the tenant headaches? Are they done with listing it? They have these great tenants for 12 years and those tenants are moving out and they're like, I'm done with this. Why are they getting out of the DST? If they need the cash, we are always going to recommend that they take some cash out of their exchange. If they think, well, I'm 65, but in 10 years, I might want some cash. Well, great. We'll put you into something, a product, we'll diversify them most likely and put part of their exchange into something called a 721 up REIT. It begins for anywhere from 2 to 5 years in a DST, typically 2. Why? Because you have to have a rental or an investment property on 2 years before you sell a property, and for at least 2 years after you sell the new replacement property. So up REIT, they end up in a REIT after being in a DST for 2 years. It's still tax deferred. They want to take out 10 grand out of the 200,000 they put into the up REIT. Great. After 2 years, plus usually a little bit of a waiting period in the REIT, they can take out cash. It will be taxable. Just like any cash you're taking out of your exchange is taxable. Anything you are not exchanging until you die, right? Exchange, expire. You want to keep your money in real estate until you die or you pay the capital gains tax, but they can use that option. And that's usually what we recommend for people who are considering, I might have medical bills in 5 years, but I'm not sure. So we'll make it tax deferred until they need it. It is like to sell your piece in the DST. In a DST, there's not a secondary market. So you could go to the sponsor and say, hey, Pasco, I know you have $100,000 in your DST, but I'd like to take that $100,000 cash and do something else with it. Pasco could then go to their investors and offer it to them to buy it off of your investor. It's just almost never done because if you're doing it properly and you have a good advisor, you're in a piece of real estate you want to stay in. I mean, how do you make money in real estate? Cash flow and appreciation. So you're going into a property for, you know, somewhere in this 4 to 7 year range on average. Someone buys a house here in Roseville and sells it in 2 years. Is it likely that they've made a lot of money on that investment? They've paid you, they've paid appraisers, they've paid for, I don't know what else they paid for, painting and repairs and whatever. They've put a lot of money into that, most likely, into purchasing that home, and they're going to put money into selling it. If you do a sale that quickly, you're likely not to make money in real estate. So this 4 to 7 year time frame is pretty standard. And people always ask about getting out of it early. And I've never once had an investor, nor has my managing partner or her dad, who started the company 20 years ago, ever had anyone actually bother to ask about getting out of the DST. They all ask about it in advance. No one's ever done it on the back end.
So, but do you, like, let's say it's getting a rental income, are you getting a portion of that?
Yeah, so if you own 1.2% of a DST, and you'll know your exact percentage ownership because we put it on the identification form that goes to the QI and the IRS. This has our QR code for this DST University in case you're too far away to scan that, or you want to think about it and scan it in a minute. I'm sorry, cash flow. You own 1.25%. Every month, you're going to get 1.25% of the net operating income. So the sponsor, like I said, is an asset and property manager. They're going to collect all of the rents, and it's their job. And you or your client never have to go and knock on doors and send letters, certified letters to collect rent checks ever again. But they're going to collect rent. They're going to pay any mortgage if there is one on the property. Some are all cash. If your client has to pay down all of their loan, they will pay the insurance payments, the taxes owed, the maintenance, the yada yada yadas. The net income from that gets distributed to your investor at that 1.25% that they've invested, or whatever percentage they own. Same without the sale. The idea is that the property is appreciated, hopefully, like it tends to in real estate. I still just have to say potentially or hopefully, because we can't guarantee it. But the property has appreciated, and at the sale, they're going to get that 1.25% of the appreciation on the property as well. So they get their percentage, like they have a direct ownership in this property at 1.25%. They get 1.25% of all the benefit, cash flow, and the appreciation. Sorry, there are two questions. Is it paid monthly? Yes, there are a couple of exceptions where like mineral rights might be paid quarterly, but it's almost always monthly. What was the other question?
What if the DST falls behind it?
It could. Do they? Almost never. It could. These are tenants that are for larger, like industrial or retail tenants. The Dollar Trees that I mentioned that Exchange Right invests in, it's not like your random Dollar Tree that they're expecting it to close down. But also, if it did, they have a 15-year lease and the DST is set for 10 years. They have a lease for another 5 years. And Dollar Tree, unless the entirety of Dollar Tree goes under and goes bankrupt, has to continue paying rent. Multifamily, 450 units. Could you have 100 people all move out at once? Sure. 100 people might have moved out and gone to live with their parents in COVID. It's rare, but also 100 vacancies in 450 units is a whole lot less of a dip to your pocketbook than your one vacancy of your one tenant moving out in your single family home.
Actually, I was more specifically considering like catastrophic weather events that would destroy the property and whether potentially the insurance blocked them.
We had a DST multifamily, 2 buildings in Charlottesville, North Carolina. That's where the hurricane was. I'm pregnant. I have pregnancy brain, so I'm sorry. Like really bad right now. But the hurricane that came through completely wiped out one entire building. As far as I know, all of the tenants back that. But they had both insurance to cover all of the repairs and business disruption insurance. So we like to see things like that anywhere that there is, well, on almost all of the properties, we like to see that. But business disruption insurance is important, especially in things like places like there are hurricanes or earthquakes, tornadoes, most of the country, or hotels, COVID business disruption insurance was really important for hotels during the pandemic when they were like, went from, 80% average occupancy down to, believe it or not, actually only 30% average occupancy. I would have expected it to drop to like 0 or 5%, but they were kind of standing around 30%. They're buying them where people still have to go and be on site, not going where it's tied to tourism, and all of tourism dropped off. So it could happen where there's cash flow that's dipping, but super rare that cash flow would ever go to 0.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm gonna pass this around really quick. I forgot to do that earlier. Because of my licensing, I'm required to take at least a name and one point of contact info for everyone that I speak with. On the right-hand side, if you're interested in accessing our agent resources, just check yes. If you never want to hear from me again, check no. Here you go. One more question, I think.
Yeah, so how do the real estate commissions work on the DST?
Again, because of my licensing, I'm not legally allowed to pay you. There is one singular DST company, and I put it in air quotes because they've been investigated consistently for calling their products DSTs. They will pay you a commission. And if you want to work with them, go find them. But the reason that I put that in air quotes and they are consistently under investigation is because they don't follow all of those guidelines that DSTs are beholden to, like Regulation B and this and this. And I cannot, my licensing requires me to be a fiduciary. And as a fiduciary, I can't pay you directly. What we do for you instead is create these marketing materials that cost us hundreds of dollars to do with our marketing and branding manager. We, invite you to a free workshop, DST University, literally like a 3-hour workshop that you would have to take a lot longer typically to get all of this information and all of this knowledge. But we'll help you with all of those things. And once you start doing business with us, and we'll start, paying for some of those extra things like the lunch and learn. We'll invite your clients to do that. We'll do marketing and webinars with you. So I've done webinars with a handful of realtors so far as well. A lot of people invite us to their offices when they're having investor events. So we'll do whatever we can to get you more business, but that's essentially how you get paid, is you unlock those listings that people don't want to list. Like I said, if you can get both sides of the 1031 exchange, absolutely do it. But there's this $5.7 billion in DSTs that are otherwise locked up. It's people that didn't want to go into another piece of real estate. So if you can get the sale, that's what we're here to help you do. Any other questions?
Nationwide, right?
Yeah, they're all over the US. 1031 exchanges are eligible within the domestic US. And so the yeah. So the DSTs are also strategically placed around the US.
Housing property.
Yeah, so we represent or have in our portfolio anywhere from 25 to 40 at any given time. We just had like a boom influx of them because of interest rates. And a lot of the sponsors were waiting to put something on the market until they got a favorable interest rate. So there are a lot in our portfolio right now. And like a month and a half ago, there were like 22. And right now there's like 35. So we'll have anywhere in there.
So they are nationwide.
They're all over. A lot of Sun Belt, Midwest, Arizona. It depends on the type and the sponsor thinks is going to be beneficial.
And then the investment could be any amount.
Any amount. The minimum typically is $100,000. A couple have $50,000. That's another great option if your client is selling a $800,000 property and buys one for $700,000. Great, help them buy that $700,000 property. Fantastic. What do they do with the other $100,000 that they didn't exchange? Are they going to pay taxes on it? Hopefully not, because you guys know about DSTs and they can put that $100,000 into a DST, have them call me, we'll put it on their form. Now you just saved them $30,000 to $40,000 in taxes and you look like a superhero. So yeah, get both sides of that exchange. Even if you help them exchange down, they're moving from here to like the Midwest. They're probably not going to buy a single family home in the Midwest. What you're selling their single family home here for. So you can help them buy that other house and then roll up the rest into DSTs and look super awesome to them and most likely get referrals. All of our clients end up referring their friends who own real estate to that realtor who listed them and told them about DSTs. Yeah, I have an office at the Roseville Executive Suites, so it's not too far down Melody Lane off of, what's that, Riverside and 80. So that's where DS University will be, next Thursday, 1 to 4. Any other question?
So would our clients get like a one-on-one consultation? Like we refer them to you and then you could work with them?
Yeah, I
to
would.
understand what they're-
Yeah, so that cash flow analysis is often the first step, which, you know, we have little postcards like this that you could even have made for you, and we have like landing pages on people's websites to send them here. They'll do that. In fact, I'll pass this around really quick so you can see like all of the details in this cash flow analysis. Like, this is how many things we're accounting for. That's my managing partner's lovely face on there. So they'll get, that is usually the first conversation. Hi, why are you calling? Oh, so and so at ESP told me to call you. Great. Why? And then they're going to tell us what their problem with their property is, or they're moving, or yada yada yada. Fantastic. You seem like a good match. Let's set up cash flow analysis and a tax analysis, and we're going to go through the gamut. And it's never one conversation. It's often, I don't know, 10. You know, we're available to them as much as they want to call us or schedule meetings with us.
Particularly senior clients.
Senior clients, I'm happy to meet in person. I've gone to a lot of homes in Sun City and like met with them at their kitchen tables because they, you know, struggle to leave the house. But we'll invite them to the office. We'll do Zoom calls. We'll come here and meet them with you in person. I always encourage whoever referred them to bring to come to the meeting as well, because if you're there, the more you like see the process, the more you understand it, and the more like business you can actually generate using it, because you're more understanding of the product and the process too. Any more questions? You guys asked great questions.
I did love that.
Cool. I think that postcard's still in the back there if you wanted to.
Eric, is there any kind of certification after we do the DST University?
Yeah, we're working on making like a really official looking one. We've been doing them since earlier this year and talking about it for 2 years. The next like closest thing we know of is like an hour long, and this is 3 hours, and so in depth that we're like, our people deserve a certification. So we're working on getting it like more formally approved.
The reason I asked, it seems like clearly the education and the content is great to help educate us and how to speak to our clients, but I guess would it be a value to say, hey, look, you know, I've got the services, I know what I'm talking about. I'm not just a, you know, blow and smoke
100%.
DSTs, and give credibility as we connect our clients to you. Or whatever
Yeah.
the next step should be.
I think that now that you've brought it up, it hasn't been brought up in like probably a couple months, and now that you've brought it up, I'm gonna ping my team and say, hey, we gotta get on that because people are interested. We've mentioned it before and no one's really like jumped on it, but if you do, I think that'd be great. I mean, throw it in your email signature. Like,
Well,
that
you
would
know,
help
fun
people
fact, I
about
think realtors are the only group subset of humans who like initials after their last name.
Totally.
I've been medical professionals, so
Yeah, so we're working on
if you
getting
give us
it.
enough of an acronym, then we'll definitely sign it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a really great point. I will bring that all up. Thank you.
All right,
Thanks,
thank you.
guys.
Give Eric a round of applause.
You're
You're good, you're good.
Question.
All right, so, I forgot one last thing, it's 30 seconds. We just need 30 seconds from the in-house lender. She showed up, she's ready for Christmas. Please give a round of applause to Lindsay Boris. Lindsay, what's happening in Wonderful Wolf Lending?
I wasn't sure if it's well, I just heads up, the full of us call at 11 o'clock, so.
Okay, 30 seconds.
Yeah, let's jump into it.
You showed up.
Good morning, guys. I'm Lindsay Boris with American Pacific Mortgage. Keep it very brief. Sorry, I should go up there. We wanted to, one of the things I was gonna mention to you guys is that the Dream for All First Time Homebuyer Program is coming back.
Nice.
So same, it will be a lottery. All that they have told us so far, because we're a preferred lender, they let us know in advance. They said early 2026, they will release that information, but it's a 20% down payment for first time home buyers. They do also have to be a first generation home buyer, meaning that if whoever is on the loan, at least one person on the loan has to have a parent that does not currently own a home. So that's kind of an added layer of qualifying for this program, but we had a couple people that got it last year.
Yeah.
I know, at least one realtor of DXP got it, and it can be a great way to qualify for a higher amount. I know I will say that since from 3 years ago, it has lost a little bit of attraction, but I think that that could be a benefit for your buyers. Because it seems like there may be fewer people that are entering in for that lottery. When it went from first come, first serve to a lottery system, the first come, first serve kind of took the wind out of people's sails because the money went so fast. But I just had a buyer that she was on the waiting list for 10 months and ended up contracts falling out or whatever after 10 months. So she just closed in May of this year, and that lottery ended in May of last year. So she ended up getting the 20% closing on a house. So it can be a great way for your buyers. So something to just start planting the seed. And as we have more information, we'll let you guys know.
The neighbor program, is that still available?
With
The 50
SHRA,
grand, yeah, the 50 grand.
as far as I know, we haven't been notified that funding has run out yet. So it's with SHRA, Sacramento Housing Regional Authority. So it's an additional 50,000 grant. And it can be used anywhere in Sacramento County. Excuse me. And you also have to be a first-time home buyer, but it can go towards down payment and closing costs. The main difference there is that there are pretty tight income restrictions. It is a pretty small box for people to fit into. It kind of attracts people. And then depending on your qualifying, their debt to income ratios are lower than most of the other programs, and their income limits are lower than most other programs as well. So people are interested in it. To be honest with you, very few people actually end up qualifying for it, but there are other down payment assistance programs we can try out for that too if that one doesn't happen to work out.
So you said Sacramento, so not Placer or Colorado.
Correct. So it's not just Sacramento proper. So how the SHRA typically operates for their regular program is they have specific homes that they own that you have to qualify for that home individually. This is not that. This is if you are buying in Sacramento County, you can purchase any home using that 50,000. So it is a little bit more broad qualifying than their typical program.
So do they have anything for Placer or Eldorado, or is that?
They come and go. So all of these are like batches of money that are specially funded. So they'll have it available until the funding runs out and they've designated all of it. Placer County had one that lasted for like 10 seconds earlier this year because it was only like $2 million. And so it brought in good attraction, but it came and went fast. So they come and go. We'll let you guys know if stuff like that pops up. This is the same as the drink for all. All right.
Thank you, Lexi. All right, guys, so to recap, we covered those guys, Golden Touch junk removal. You guys want some awesome kids to work with, awesome young men to work with, reach out to Golden Touch junk removal. We've covered Delaware statutory trusts. We covered Zillow, how to either pay for that integration with Zillow or pay to keep. Oh, Audrey, it's okay. It's gonna be okay. Audrey's stressing out about Zillow. It's okay. But was this a good meeting? Was it a good meeting? All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here today. We'll see you next week.